Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on how to get involved in the World Diabetes Day 2025. I'm delighted to see so many people from all around the world joining today's session, and I look forward to telling you all about how you can get involved in this year's campaign. First things first, let me introduce myself. My name is Lucy Mikaludis, and I'm the Communications Coordinator at the International Diabetes Federation. And part of my role is coordinating the day-to-day activities of World Diabetes Day at IDF. And I'll be leading today's informational session, along with my colleagues who will be writing to you in the webinar chat and answering your questions in the Zoom Q&A. First, some important information about the webinar before we get started. This webinar will be recorded, and you can activate Zoom-generated subtitles for the webinar by clicking on the closed caption button at the bottom of your Zoom window. But please note that these subtitles are not 100% accurate. After this event, the recording, the slides, and the feedback questionnaire will be sent to you within a few days. Please note that there will be no certificate issued for attending this webinar. And during the event, I invite you to please use the Q&A function to post your questions. My colleagues will be able to answer your questions directly in the Q&A function, and I'll have the opportunity to answer some of these questions live towards the end of the event. So World Diabetes Day 2025. Today marks less than 1 month to go until the 14th of November. And in today's session, we will cover the key messages of the campaign, the key calls to action, and the campaign resources that you can use in your activities. So as many of you may know, the overarching theme for World Diabetes Day is diabetes and well-being. And this year, we've decided to focus on diabetes in the workplace. We want to highlight the challenges that are faced by people living with diabetes at work, and we want to call on the community worldwide to take action to increase support for people living with diabetes and those at risk at work. With this in mind, our campaign slogan is "Know more and do more for diabetes at work." We want people to know more about diabetes. We want them to understand what diabetes is and how they can offer support to people living with the condition in their workplace. And we want people to do more. We want people to take action and to put in place policies and improve the supports available to people living with diabetes and those at risk in their workplace. The key messages of the campaign fit under 3 pillars. First of all, we want to highlight the challenges faced by people living with diabetes at work. And these challenges include stigma, discrimination, exclusion, and anxiety, and the lack of access to care and support for their well-being. Secondly, we want to highlight that a workplace can sometimes be an unhealthy environment. Sedentary work, a lack of access to healthy food choices, and limited options for physical activity and limited support for mental well-being can mean that a workplace can be a harmful environment for people living with diabetes and those at risk. And next, our key message is to do more for people with diabetes. We want people to take action. We want employers to put into place policies and actions that can create a safe and supportive and healthy work environment for people with diabetes and those at risk. Now, let's begin by having a look at some of the campaign resources that are available for you to use in your activities. First off, I would like to talk a little bit about using the World Diabetes Day logo and share some usage guidelines. The World Diabetes Day logo is free for anyone to use in their diabetes awareness activities, and it's available for you to use and to download from our resource hub on the World Diabetes Day website. It's available in several languages from the resource hub, and you can scan the QR code now to begin downloading them. If you can't find your language available on our website, then I invite you to write to us at wdd@idf.org to request the logo, and we'll be able to share it with you. I want to point out a very important usage guideline when using the World Diabetes Day logo on your materials. Please note that the World Diabetes Day logo must not be used for commercial purposes. So this includes not using it on any e-commerce or commercial websites and not using it to promote or to sell any products. Regarding the International Diabetes Federation logo, use of this logo is strictly limited to only our members and our partners. And if you have any questions about a specific usage of the logo, I do invite you to write to us at wdd@idf.org, and we'll be able to answer your questions. In the Resource Hub, you'll find a selection of campaign posters for this year's campaign. They feature people living with diabetes from our Blue Circle Advocate Network. The posters highlight key stats as part of our key messaging. For example, showing that 7 in 10 people living with diabetes are of working age, highlighting that the balance of managing diabetes at work is a daily reality for many people living with diabetes. We also feature quotes and key testimonials from people in our network, highlighting their own personal experiences living with diabetes and managing it in the workplace and the challenges they have faced. So I invite you to scan the QR code and to download the posters. These are A4 posters that can be downloaded and printed and displayed in your home, in your workplace, in your local community as part of your activities, and they can also be shared online. Next, we have some social media visuals. These are square format visuals designed to be shared on social media channels. They as well reuse our campaign visual identity and key messages and are available to download in English, French, and Spanish from the Resource Hub. So I invite you to scan the QR code now to access the Resource Hub and download the square visuals for use in your activity. And just a reminder that as we go through the presentation today, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to use the Q&A function below the window of your Zoom. In the Resource Hub, we also have 2 infographics focused on this year's campaign, focused on diabetes in the workplace. So the first infographic is a great resource to download and share if you want to raise awareness of the challenges faced by people living with diabetes at work. We highlight 6 key challenges, including harassment and bullying, discomfort in managing diabetes at work, but also the lack of workplace policies for people living with diabetes. So this is available for you to download and print already today. The second infographic, Know More and Do More for Diabetes at Work. This one includes 10 ways to do more for diabetes at work. We have practical steps that employers can put into place to offer greater support to people living with diabetes. And this includes having a trained first aider on site who can deal with a diabetes-related emergency, organizing diabetes screenings, and offering flexible working arrangements. So I encourage you to browse the Resource Hub to find these infographics and to download them and use them in your activities. They can be printed and distributed as flyers, or printed and displayed during your activities, or shared online. So when it comes to using the World Diabetes Day campaign resources, we do encourage you to translate and adapt the resources to be used in your local campaigns. On the Resource Hub on worlddiabetesday.org, you'll find the assets available in English, French, and Spanish. However, if you would like to translate the materials to use in your local community, that is possible, and we invite you to write to us at wdd@idf.org, and then to request the source files, and we can share these with you to help you translate and adapt the materials to your local context. There's flexibility to translate the content, adapt the imagery, and we really can support you in any way to adapt the materials to make them relevant and engaging to your local communities. So don't hesitate to reach out to us about that. And a final note on downloading and using the official World Diabetes Day materials. Only official World Diabetes Day partners and IDF members can add their logo to the campaign materials. So if you're downloading and using the materials from our website, we do ask that this is without any additional co-branding. And if you're looking for ideas on how to adapt the campaign visual identity and adapt the materials for use in your local activities, you can see an example here from our member in Mexico who've taken the campaign visual identity and used a member of their network and created a visual for use in their national campaign. So I invite you to be inspired by this example and to do the same. Now, I would like to highlight the campaign toolkit. This is really your one-stop shop for everything to do with World Diabetes Day 2025. In one web page, it brings together the key messages, the key stats, and the campaign resources and calls to action, all in one place for you to use to plan your activities. And this isn't only a resource for you to use. I encourage you to share it with your members, with your affiliates, with your online networks. If you have friends or family or people in your workplace that would like to organize an event and they don't know how to get started, sharing the campaign toolkit is a really great first step. So I invite you to download the toolkit, and it's available in English, French, and Spanish. I'm so delighted to see we have already over 300 people online with us today. Thank you for joining this session. And now just a teaser to a new campaign resource which will be coming soon. It's the campaign video. In this year's campaign, we have a video featuring our Blue Circle voice from Pakistan, Anwar, and she's living with type 1 diabetes. In this video, you'll hear her story about how she balances her busy working life while managing diabetes. You'll hear about her challenges in having regular meal times, having breaks, and being able to effectively and efficiently manage her diabetes while at work. You'll also hear about how she manages to find support, how talking about her condition with her colleagues and her employers has led to increased support and enabled her to thrive at work. So I really encourage you to stay tuned for this new campaign video, which will be arriving soon. I also want to point out that we have merchandise available if that's something you're interested in using and distributing at one of your activities. We have the Blue Circle pin and the World Diabetes Day flag available to purchase from our website. So feel free to scan the QR codes to learn more information there. And I encourage you to, if you're interested, to place your orders soon to be able to use the merchandise in your upcoming activities. And if you have any specific questions about World Diabetes Day, please don't hesitate to use the QA function, and someone from the IDF team will be able to respond to your questions there. Now let's talk about planning your activities and sharing them with us. If you are still looking for inspiration for your World Diabetes Day activity, I just want to share with you here a few examples from previous campaigns. You can see that there are really so many different ways to organize an activity for World Diabetes Day in your local community. Anything from organizing a diabetes screening or health check in your workplace or local community, or perhaps there's a well-known monument in your town and you can organize to light it up in blue, the color of global diabetes awareness. Or perhaps you'd like to organize a march or a walk, or a sports activity such as a run or a bike ride. There are really so many possibilities that I can't include them all on this slide, but I think this is a great starting point to inspire you to start planning your activities. Another great resource for you to use to be inspired and see what kind of activities you could organize in your community is the online activities map. This is accessible on worlddiabetesday.org, and it allows you to browse and see from the events published. You can see which activities have already been published in your local town, in your country. I think we have almost 100 activities published so far, and yeah, we'd really like to increase this number. So I invite you to, once you have an activity confirmed, once you know about an activity that you're organizing, please do submit it on the website. So just a reminder that any organization, any company, and any individual can submit an activity. And we encourage you to submit your activities and encourage other organizations and those in your network to do the same. It's very easy to submit your activity. You can simply scan the QR code on the slide or visit worlddiabetesday.org to fill in the form. And to share your activity information, we ask just for some basic information about your activity. And if you can share some additional links for further information, such as a website or a flyer, your activity will then be reviewed by our team and published on the online activities map within a few days. So this is really a great way to promote your activity among the global diabetes community. And it's a great way to be part of the global World Diabetes Day campaign and the record of all the activities that have taken place worldwide for the campaign this year. And once our activity has taken place, we encourage everyone to submit their activity photos. We will reach out to all event organizers following World Diabetes Day, and we'll invite you to submit your activity photos and to be part of the online World Diabetes Day event gallery. Now let's explore some calls to action that you can take in part in and that you can share with your community. First is an invitation to share your experience. Highlighting the experiences of people living with diabetes and amplifying their voices is a key part of World Diabetes Day. And so we invite you, if you're living with diabetes or caring for someone with the condition, we invite you to take our survey to share your experience of diabetes at work. This is your opportunity to tell us about the challenges you faced, to share your story, and to tell us about the support you have received. The answers shared during the survey are then used as part of our communications campaign. And it's a great way for us to be able to amplify and use real life testimonies from people living with diabetes from the worldwide community and to amplify them across our channels for World Diabetes Day. So don't hesitate to take the survey and to share your story. Next is a quiz for employers and employees. This is a very easy to understand and easy to take quiz. 20 questions for you to answer about what support is currently offered in your workplace for people living with diabetes. You can take the quiz to find out how diabetes friendly is your workplace. You simply have to answer the questions and then you'll receive, based on your answers, a score, red, amber, or green. If you score green, then congratulations. It means your workplace is already doing a lot to support people living with diabetes and those at risk. For those who achieve a red or amber score, the quiz offers some additional resources and further reading so that your employers and your workplace can take action to improve the support offered for people living with diabetes. This is a great call to action and something very accessible. And we encourage you to share it very widely. Let's get every workplace to take the quiz and find out how much support they are really offering people living with diabetes. Next, we have an invitation for you to take part in our call to action to policymakers. This is an important opportunity to use World Diabetes Day as a moment to call on local and national policymakers to take action for people living with diabetes. Using our online letter generation platform, you have the opportunity to customize a letter with diabetes data from your country. You simply have to enter your personal information, including your name and email address, and select your country of residence. This will automatically customize a letter with data about people living with diabetes in your country. You then have the option to add your own personal story to the letter, and it will then be sent to your national health minister or permanent mission to the United Nations in Geneva. You also have the option to send to other local policymakers. Now, this is a really important opportunity to use World Diabetes Day to influence policy. Let's use World Diabetes Day this year to urge all policymakers to take action and to implement the WHO Global Diabetes Compact, and to achieve the global diabetes coverage targets by 2030. In 2025, we're only 5 years away. So this is a really key milestone and an important moment to take action and call on policymakers to support people living with diabetes. And you can scan the QR code here to start sending your letters. The platform is available in English, French, and Spanish. Next, I want to invite you to join us on social media. As we count down to the 14th of November, it's a great moment to start following the International Diabetes Federation on social media to stay up to date with news from the campaign. We'll be sharing activities from around the world, updates from the campaign, new resources, and video content once it's available. So I really do encourage you to start following us on social media to stay up to date with the campaign. And one key way to engage with the campaign on social media is to amplify World Diabetes Day by resharing our messages. Simply resharing our posts will help us reach a broader audience and raise awareness for diabetes worldwide. We also encourage you to post your own content in the run-up to World Diabetes Day and all throughout November. Share your own activities on social media and your personal stories of living with diabetes or caring for someone with diabetes. You can use the hashtags #DiabetesLife and #World Diabetes Day in your posts, so that we can really gather all the content under these hashtags and join the global community worldwide on World Diabetes Day. And I want to take a moment now to thank our World Diabetes Day partners, without whom we wouldn't be able to do all the activities we do for World Diabetes Day and all the resources and campaign calls to action that I shared with you today wouldn't be possible without their support. So thank you once again to our World Diabetes Day partners. And now we'll have a moment, maybe some questions have come to mind for World Diabetes Day. I invite you to post them into the chat and I'll have an opportunity to answer some of these questions. If you have any questions, please do post them in the Q&A. Now's the chance for me to be able to answer them live. If you have questions following the event, you can also reach out to us by email. We have a question about support and resources to help conduct a successful World Diabetes Day communication in a remote countries and rural areas. So if you would like to reach out to us for additional information, please note that the International Diabetes Federation unfortunately can't provide financial support for your activities. We do have a range of campaign materials that are available for free to download from the website, and we can support you in creating translated versions of these materials to use online or in your local communities. But unfortunately, we can't provide direct financial help for World Diabetes Day activities. And now, further question. Should the activity be mainly on World Diabetes Day or any day in November? So that's a great question. So as you know, World Diabetes Day takes place on the 14th of November. But November itself is World Diabetes Awareness Month. So any events, it can take place all throughout November. And if for any specific reason, due to weather or other local festivals or events, if it takes place outside of November, that's okay as well. But we really do encourage you to let's make use of the momentum and attention for diabetes around the 14th of November and to hold your events on or around the 14th of November. So before and afterwards is fine as well. And I'm just waiting to see if there are any additional questions that I can answer now. And I'll just remind you all that the recording and the slides will be shared following this event. So you can review any of the content mentioned and reach out to us by email. I see we have a few more questions coming through, so I'll stay online to answer those. And thank you so much. I see that we are still over 300 people online, so thank you very much for joining this live event. So the question is, if we make our own materials using some of your content, can we add your logo to the materials? So yes, if you would like to make your own materials for World Diabetes Day, you can use the World Diabetes Day logo. It can be downloaded on our website and can be used on any materials for your diabetes awareness activities. And if you have a specific question about logo use, you can reach out to us by email. You have a specific question, but the general rule is that yes, you can use the World Diabetes Day logo on your diabetes materials. And just bear with us 1 minute while we see if there are any more questions that we can answer. And I see a question about the hashtags. And so the hashtags for World Diabetes Day, I will go back to the slide. And so hashtag diabetes life. This is a great hashtag to use because we are encouraging people living with diabetes and caring for those with diabetes to share their own personal stories on social media. So hashtag diabetes life is a great hashtag to use there. And in all posts relating to World Diabetes Day, please use the hashtag World Diabetes Day. If you'd like to use a translated version of the hashtag too, that's also possible. Whatever space allows for would be great. And we really do encourage you to use the hashtags because it allows us to track and see the volume of posts relating to the campaign. And so it really helps all of us to be part of a global movement altogether on social media. So I really do encourage you to use the hashtags. And I see a question in the chat about what is the best way to approach the community with multicultural. So if you have a particularly multicultural community, I would say that please do feel free to either use a variety of visuals that we have on the resource hub. So we have posters featuring people from different geographies and different cultures. And if you think that that's isn't appropriate or particularly engaging for your local community, then we can work together to supply the source files, to adapt the imagery. We really do encourage you to take the key messages, but to use them in a way that's going to be most engaging for your community. So it's possible to either use the posters as they are, or to adapt the imagery as well. And I'm just looking at questions coming through now. And so I see a question about reference or guidelines concerning healthy habits and better nutrition in the workplace. So I would say that encouraging healthy habits and better nutrition in the workplace is a great way to frame and use the World Diabetes Day campaign this year. I'm not aware of any specific guidelines, but there may well be something already available in your country. And so it's something that you can research online, and it can be something that you can take back to your employers, to your workplace, and invite them to put that into place. Okay, let me see if there are any additional questions. before we bring to a close? I see a question here. When we make posts, is it necessary to tag the sponsor's industry from the last slide? So if you are posting about your own World Diabetes Day activities, I would say you should, if you have sponsors who are sponsoring your activities, of course, feel free to um, to uh, to tag them or mention them in your posts. The posts from World Diabetes Day, social media handles, and from International Diabetes Federation, we will be tagging our sponsors and our partners in our activities. It's not something that you have to do um, in your own activities. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of the Q&A. I'm waiting to see if there are any final questions. Otherwise, I'll leave you with um, contact information in case you would like to reach out. Okay, so if you would like to get in touch following today's webinar, then please do visit worlddiabetesday.org for further information. You can access all the resources and all the calls to action that we mentioned on today's webinar. All the links can be found there. And if you still have questions, please do feel free to reach out to us on wwd@idf.org. And all that remains to do now is to share some closing remarks. So the recording and slides and feedback questionnaire will be sent to all registrants within a few days. We really do appreciate your feedback on these IDF online events. It will help us to improve these events in the future. So thank you for taking time to fill in the feedback questionnaire. And thank you all for joining today's session. I wish you every success in your World Diabetes Day activities. Thank you very much.